The 2025 F1 season will see many changes that will affect every part of the sport. And in this video, we explore 6 rule changes that will change the game in 2025. The FIA makes sure that the sport is safe and competitive. In 2025, the FIA has decided to change many rules that affect car design and race strategy. These changes will also affect driver safety and the way teams work. Fans have been waiting for new ideas that can bring closer racing. The new rules are designed to improve fairness and help drivers show their skill. The changes will force teams to think in new ways and plan their race strategies differently. Many people believe that the 2025 changes will change the game. We will look at 6 key changes that will shape the season ahead. The 6 main changes are as follows. Number 1. Removal of the fastest lap bonus point. For many years, the fastest lap bonus point was a part of Formula 1. Drivers earned an extra point if they set the fastest lap in the race and finished in the top 10. This rule was brought back in 2019 after a long absence. It gave drivers a chance to earn 1 extra point and made the last part of races more dramatic. But many people have questioned the value of this extra point. The bonus point sometimes changed race strategies. Teams would instruct drivers to pit late for a fresh set of tires so that they could set the fastest lap. This tactic meant that some drivers did not use the full potential of their car. It also sometimes helped drivers who were not in a winning position. The point could affect the championship battle in ways that many thought were unfair. The decision was made after much debate among teams and officials. The FIA believes that removing the bonus point will help drivers focus on overall race performance. Fans can now expect more focus on race position, rather than a last-minute point grab. Number 2. Driver cooling systems in extreme heat. Formula 1 drivers work very hard in cars that reach high speeds. They often work in very hot conditions. In some races, the heat can be extreme. High temperatures can put the drivers at risk. The FIA has decided to introduce a driver cooling system in 2025. This system is required when a heat hazard is declared. A heat hazard is declared when the temperature goes above a certain level. The new rule means that teams must install a cooling kit in the car when needed. The driver cooling system is a special kit that uses cooling fluid to protect the driver. The system is built into a fireproof shirt that is worn by the driver. A pump moves the fluid through tubes in the shirt. This process helps keep the driver cooler during very hot races. The car must also meet a new minimum weight requirement when the cooling system is in place. The extra weight is added to the car so that the system fits properly. This change will make races safer in very high temperatures. It is a measure that will help protect the drivers and improve their performance. Driver cooling systems add a new element to car design and race strategy. When teams know that a heat hazard can be declared, they must have a plan for driver safety. Number 3. Limits on testing previous season cars. Teams have long used old car parts to test new ideas. They have used previous season cars in test sessions. This practice is called testing of previous cars, or TPC. In recent years, teams have used a large number of days and kilometers for testing with older cars. This has given some teams a performance advantage. In 2025, the FIA has set strict limits on TPC. Teams can now use previous season cars only for a maximum of 20 days per calendar year. In addition, race drivers are allowed to drive these older cars for a maximum of 1,000 kilometers over 4 days of testing. The new rule is meant to help control costs and level the playing field. It will reduce the amount of development that teams can do with older machinery. Teams will have to be more strategic with their testing time. They must choose carefully which tests are most important. This change will force teams to focus on the current season car design. It will also reduce the disparity between the big teams and the smaller teams. The smaller teams may have less money and fewer resources for testing. With strict limits, every team will have similar opportunities. Number 4. Increased opportunities for young drivers. Young drivers are the future of Formula One. Many teams have academy programs to nurture new talent. In previous seasons, teams were allowed to run a young driver in free practice only once per car each season. This rule gave young drivers only one chance to gain experience on the track. The FIA has now increased this opportunity. In 2025, each car must run a young driver in free practice twice per season. This means that every team will give a rookie 2 sessions of free practice per season. This change will allow young drivers to get more track time. They will be able to learn more about car dynamics and race strategy. More practice on the track means that young drivers can build confidence. The increased practice time is good for driver development. Teams will also benefit from fresh talent in the paddock. Number 5. Tighter restrictions on DRS and wing designs. The drag reduction system has been a part of Formula One for many years. DRS helps drivers overtake by reducing aerodynamic drag. The system works by opening a flap on the rear wing. This change makes the car faster in a straight line. But teams have used DRS in ways that sometimes lead to controversy. Some teams have developed clever designs that create extra downforce when DRS is deployed. These designs can give a competitive edge that is not fair. In 2025, the FIA will impose tighter restrictions on DRS and wing designs. The rules will limit the flexibility of the wings. The gap in the DRS slot will be reduced from 10mm to 9.4mm. This reduction is meant to make the system more uniform among teams. There will be only 2 positions allowed for DRS, fully open and fully closed. When a driver disengages DRS, the rear wing must return exactly to its original shape. These restrictions will stop teams from using mini DRS ideas that give extra performance. The change will ensure that the performance gap is not widened by creative wing designs. Number 6. Tweaks to qualifying and grid formation. Qualifying is a very important part of a race weekend. The order in which the cars line up for the race is set during the qualifying sessions. In previous seasons, the rules for qualifying and grid formation were less strict. There were times when bad weather or other factors could disrupt the normal session. In such cases, the grid was set by the stewards or by the current championship standings. For 2025, the FIA has made changes to clarify the process. One major change is that if a qualifying session is cancelled, the starting grid will be based on the current drivers' championship standings. This rule gives a clear method for setting the grid when the session cannot take place. In addition, the final starting grid will now be locked 1 hour before the race. If a car withdraws up to 75 minutes before the race, it will not appear on the grid. This means that all the cars will move up to fill the gap. The new rules help to avoid confusion and last-minute changes on race day. Now, whatever your thoughts are, just write them down below. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.